Trying to add those last few players to your team before Madden 21 drops. Avoid the packs, save the racks, use code CC now, 25% off. Hey, what is going on, Madden family? We're here to give our final thoughts on the beta. 5 things. I only want to cover 5 I think that need to be there to make Madden a good game. I don't want to see great. We have no idea what EA is going to do from it, but just to start out, my overall thoughts on the beta. I had a good time playing it. I enjoyed playing it. It's not a perfect game. It's not a perfect game at all. But especially if you're playing the beta and mixing in Madden 20 games like I was for playing Weekend League and stuff, you see a very big difference in the games. So I had more fun playing it, but it's also new, right? It's a new game, so you're going to have a little more fun with new at times like that. So I don't want to go too far into that. But let's talk about it. Defense is obviously the biggest talking point that everyone has had. Defense, whether it's the users being slow and zones being bad, I think just the combination of those two needs to come in. The sliders need to come down and up a little. What I really worry about saying that, and EA is going to get a lot of feedback for this, and I feel like they will make some changes, is that it goes too far one way. Either the user becomes too good, which we honestly don't want, you want some skill there, or the zones become too good, and again, their skill comes away there. So they need to have some fine tuning with it. I don't know. I kind of feel like with this, since it's going to be such a sensitive thing, not sensitive with the community, but sensitive with the changes they make, that we kind of need like a second beta for them saying like, hey guys, here's the changes, and we can all sort of go through like, okay, this is better, right? Because we don't want it to just skew so far on either side. I don't want my zones to be a Superman, and I don't want my user to be able to cover everything, especially early on. Later on in the game, that's fine. Things change, players get faster. It is what it is. But that is definitely a thing. The next thing for me, defensively, in its own separate category, is click-ons and click-offs, okay? In Madden 20, when you clicked off of a defender, they were still like a missile going towards the ball, right? And I feel like they said like, okay, we're not going to do a lot of that this year, but it also feels too much. If there was a slider at like 50, I would want it at like 55 or something like that. Very minor, but if they came out and they said they didn't do anything with it, then I would be fine with it. But when you click onto defenders, whether it's to make a tackle in the open field, to click on a zone, that's not working correctly at all. You need to A, give me the right guy, B, make sure that I'm not consistently taking him out of position at all. And that was a real struggle. I think that's part of the reason why pass defense felt kind of bad, was when you would click on a zone or try to, you may not get the right guy. So it definitely does hurt, but I think that again, that needs to be corrected. I don't even know if it's a tuning issue, but that needs to be corrected a little bit. I need you to click on the computer to know to click onto the right person and to give me proper control of that player at the time. Something that was fine in Madden 20. It was really fine. Just if they could just put that in there, I would be good with it. But that's our second issue. Next is film study. Super hot topic. It's not something I personally want in the game. But I think it's going to be in the game, whether it's an X factor or it's going to be adjusted somehow. I think it stays. And there's such a big discussion around like, these players who run the same couple plays don't want it in the game for XYZ reason. And I can tell you that that's not the case. What it is that a lot of times when you run a play, you may make a different route adjustment here or there. And if the computer's if you're going to be able to see that, it kind of feels like a little bit of cheating or hand holding. And it just seems a little too much. But the way Madden is yeah, you need to, you may need to vary some things you do, but I don't think you're really going to need to. especially if you're not playing the top, we'll call it 5%, and that may even be a really high number, probably closer to 2 or 3%. It's not going to matter. What it is, though, is the players who are better than you, who have it, are going to be able to take advantage of it better than you. So a lot of the people who want it, they're like, this is a great idea. You know, it is going to end up hurting you, because if you go back through and you look and you see how many plays you call, you will understand that as well, that you can't run PA deep outs 3 times in a row. But the thing is we already know what you're trying to do. Madden players are creatures of habits, all of us. All of us. All of us. Do you guys remember playing in the house rules where you couldn't call the same play? I remember playing that. I did pretty good. I'm not overly worried about it. If it's in the game, I'll deal with it. We'll learn from it. Cool, whatever. There's going to be ways to combat it. I had talked about on Twitter some ways is that when I come up with a route combination for a play, I have multiple reads, right? Multiple reads, and that's an okay thing to have. You have to make a read progression. So for like level sail, right? At Vase Twins, which I've run a lot. Normally my read progression would be to the flat, right? Then am I getting blitzed, right? So after that, if that's open, I want to take it. If I'm getting blitzed, then okay, where is the user at? Is he on the left where my streak is? Can I throw the in route? Can I throw the corner route to the tight end? If the answer is no, then I will look and see what kind of defender there, and I knew pre-play what kind of defender is in the area for the corner route, knowing, can I even throw this route? Okay, check. Then I have the streak going up the seams. That's your user. This user is the only one who really ever can guard the streak up the seams. Is that going to be there? Maybe. Then I go check to the short in and then the deep in. I can throw all 5 routes on the play. You can know that that's coming. I can quick hike you and you can not be able to get your adjustment in. I can set up my play and then audible, and then your adjustments are messed up and mine are good. So there is a cat and mouse game that will come with it. If it's in the game, whatever, I'll play with it and I will use it 100%. I promise. But I feel like it's a really big deal. But once the game comes out, it's not going to be that big of a deal. That's my opinion. Next thing that I've really noticed, and I'm not sure if it was because it was the beta, but I want to include this in here. I've been preaching make ratings matter. I really didn't feel like ratings mattered a whole lot in the beta with a lot of stuff. Abilities mattered, but I didn't feel like ratings really mattered. I would like that to be touched on and improved on a lot. Again, we had some of these guys like Gronk, whose ratings were pretty messed up in the beta, super low route runnings, and like he'd smoke you on some routes. So it feels like they didn't matter so much, right? And I want ratings to matter. I don't need to have a cape on a player for them to be good, hopefully. We'll see how that goes. But again, ratings should matter. They didn't feel like they did. Maybe it was just because it was the beta. And if that's the case, cool. If someone at EA said, no, it'll be different. All right, cool. I'll take your word for it. I don't think that ratings will fully matter, but they need to matter more, way more than they did in this version of the game. So fingers crossed that they do make that change, or it's how it should be, or the ratings were just, we were being lied to. I'm not sure, but they need to matter. And the last part I want to talk about is zone drops. Okay. Now I'm not going to talk a lot about offense in here because I felt like a lot of offense was good, but it was really hard to tell what you needed to change on offense because the defense was so bad in the game. Okay. I feel like running was fine. I feel like pass rush was fine. There's some things I saw a lot of people talk about pressure and accurate still being there quite often. Fair. And some other things. But it's really hard to tell if offense was really good or defense was just really bad. So we'll have to wait and see. Maybe that's another patch. But the next thing is the what's it called? Zone drop. It's a good feature. It is a very good feature. I like the way it is in the game. The two things that I saw is it resets a lot. It should never reset. You should have to go in and reset it yourself. Or just tell us that that's how it is, at least, like let us know that this is a one play deal. Then I'm fine having to go back in. It's a lot of going into the menus though. It's a lot of going into the menus. if you have to reset it every time. But again, however you tell us, that's fine. If it's going to be there and it's going to reset every time, we may need an extra 5 seconds on the play call or whatever it is. But one big thing I saw a couple people talk about, and I was like, yes, this is exactly it. This is, I couldn't sort of like put it in my own words until I heard someone else say it. I was like, I completely agree. When you adjust your zone drops, you can adjust your clouds, right? Your flats, and then you have your curl flats and you have your hook zones. In the flats area, they included hard flat. But there are definitely times when I want a hard flat to just play hard flat. So why can't we just leave hard flat at 0 depth or whatever it is, right? And not include it in the adjustment. I know some people were trying to get around it, where they would set their flat adjustments to be 20 and then their curl flats to be 5. And then they would manually put out a curl flat to sort of combat that. And I was like, okay, well that works, but you shouldn't have to do that. It should be able to just be done this way. So that in theory, you could have 3 different zone depths down on the sideline, a hard flat at 0, a cloud flat at whatever, and a curl flat at whatever, right? And that's going to take a lot of your spots away there. That's going to be really good. Now, as we get into the game and as we get into different defenses and learning how things work, a lot of times people are going to be going into those types of coverages, which is fine. And that's going to help defense out as we play longer into the game, as people get more comfortable and confident with throwing the ball, confident with adjusting on defense correctly, because you could use your same adjustments this year and do some okay stuff. But I noticed a lot of times that I was able to cover one side of the field pretty good, but not the other, with how much time I played in the game. I think at times you're going to need to do both, but we'll see how that goes. I don't know. But I think hard flats need to be removed from zone drops. Just leave them the way they are at 0 depth. And we should be fine otherwise to do what we want. It's a fun game. I enjoyed playing it. I don't think it's the best game I've ever played. It's not the worst game I've ever played. But like I said, it was fun. I had a good time. So hopefully whatever adjustments EA makes in the next month. I know everyone's like, oh, game comes out in like 2 months. It's like EA is going to have like a version and a patch ready by like August 15th. So we're talking 40 days, 6 weeks, 5 weeks, maybe. So we'll see what they can do. I'm going to go in optimistic. I came in thinking this was a beta, not that this was the final version of the game. We don't know how the real version is going to be. We just don't. We can provide all the feedback. I've seen a lot of good feedback. I've seen a lot of really bad feedback too. So at times I feel like when there's so much noise coming at EA, you're going to miss something important, which is why I just want to do this at 5. Again, same way with I talked about franchise. I think anything more than 5, it's really difficult. Are there more than 5 issues in this game? 100% there are. But if we can fix 5 now and then 5 at the first patch, we're in a pretty good spot. We'll find out. I'll see you guys later. Good luck. I cannot wait to play 21 with you guys, and I'm out. Peace.